Hi, this is Pat with Racket Stringing Tips, and today we're going to continue on scaling your racket stringing business. So again, if this is your first time, welcome, and we have a number of videos in this series, and this is the third one in the series. And again, please, if you like the videos and find some value in them, make sure you like and subscribe, and also sign up for our email newsletter with lots of fun racket stringing stuff and tips, and just we like hanging out here and just talking tennis and racket stringing. So we're going to go ahead and continue today on this series, and in total we've got 9 different strategies we're talking about. The first couple videos, number 1, we talked about upgrading equipment and building partnerships. And those videos are also available. You can see them in my video feed. And then today, we're going to continue and talk about offering diverse services along with just your straight racket stringing tips, or racket stringing. So the first thing is an express stringing service. Now, again, a lot of these things you might have thought about. They might not work in your market, but just keep an open, just kind of think about how this might work in your market or with your expertise. Some of these are, I think, general stringing tips for scaling your business. Other ones are maybe for more advanced stringers who have more experience, but just kind of, it's just something to start thinking about. And some of these have worked for us, and we don't use all of them either, but maybe you can find some value in there. So the first one, it's kind of like offering the same day or next day stringing and thinking about maybe adding an additional fee. So what's the benefit of this? Well, of course, it's going to appeal to players who need immediate assistance for whether they're going to play in a tournament, they just broke a string unexpectedly, it's their favorite racket, maybe it's their only racket. So this could actually add some premium revenue stream. And so, me personally, I know in the past, for a lot of stringing, if you have 7 or 8 rackets that you have kind of in your queue that you're going to be stringing, and you have them kind of in that order, and that's kind of how the customer is going to receive it. If you need to, put somebody in the front of that line, well, it should cost a premium, because of course it's going to put more work on you. It's going to mean that maybe some of these other rackets, if people are waiting on them. So, kind of have maybe, stringing by, 1 hour service, or even same day stringing guaranteed. And then you can fit it in, and then add a fee to that. So this is a way that you can scale up your business. Brad, I know that you offer services like this, and so how do you feel about this?
Well, I do think it's definitely a good way to try to make a little extra money, and also provide that sense of kind of safety and relief to the consumer that, hey, if I need this racket done today, I know I can get it done today. My business is a little different in the sense that most of my customers have to walk by a pro shop on their way out of the club to deliver their rackets to me. So what I've done is I have just offered great fast service without any sort of upcharge, just because I know that they go out of their way to get their rackets to me. It's much more inconvenient, and I hear from them over and over again, how blown away they are with my quick service. In most cases, it is same day, and in worst case, it's next morning. So they get a lot of things from me they don't get from the pro shop. Number one is most of the pro shops in town are anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 days before they turn the rackets around. And then they have different hours. They might be 10 to 4 or 9 to 5. Whereas my customers, they can call me, text me at 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, 9 at night. Usually I respond. And if they need to drop it off at 10 at night and have it by 8 in the morning, I've done that many times. It's not normal. I have one client who I'll do over 90 rackets for this year, and there might be 2 circumstances in the entire year where I might hear from him at 8 at night to see if he can have it by 9 in the morning. And I'll do that. But I also get 92 rackets from him that I'll string this year,
Right.
So
Yeah. And sometimes you might get a tip for that as well. So like sometimes when you string and somebody really appreciates that you were able to fit it in, you might even get a tip.
absolutely.
So that might offset, not charging extra. I think it just depends what the market, like what your general market is like, as far as what shops you have around, what everybody's offering. If it's one of those things like you're saying, like, shops, it takes 2, 3, 4 days to get your racket strung. Well, then in that case, you might be able to generate more business just by offering this same day stringing service and not charging more, but you might end up getting more at bottom line, stringing business, which ultimately ends up being more revenue for you. So you could play it that way as well.
Yeah, right. And if I had to start my business over again, I might have a different business setup where I would say that, even though my intention was to get them done already in the same day, I might charge $5 extra to guarantee same day.
Yep. So it's an option. Just kind of think about that, whatever, market that you might be having your business in. So the next thing, custom stringing package. Now this is something that these are just some general ideas. So you can kind of take this idea and go, how would this maybe work in my market? So the detail would be to create like a bundle package tailored to different types of players, whether it's like a beginner package or a pro level package. And so that could include specific types of strings, tensions. You could maybe customize the rackets, have an extra grip, maybe like a dampener or whatever. So you can create like packages and have those listed like, basic rackets, I would call it maybe a racket tune-up kit, or, there's just other ways to do it where it's all inclusive.
Yeah, and I think that's a great idea, and that's something else where you could create this package like you're saying, and maybe it is $5 more per racket, but it always jumps them to the front of the queue, right? So in most cases, you're getting same day service. It jumps you to the front of the queue every time you string a racket. Maybe you buy overgrips in bulk, and so you spend $1 on an extra overgrip every time they give you a racket. They get a complimentary overgrip.
Yep. And this is, a real personalized approach. And I don't think a lot of people are doing this. So the next thing, racket maintenance and tune-up. So you could offer, oops, I jumped ahead a little here. Sorry. Let me go back. All right. So racket maintenance and tune-up. So offering services like grip replacement, frame inspection, grommet repairs, weight balancing. And so again, you could put all of that into one of your packages like we just talked about, or this could be just another part of your service, right? It's like when somebody comes in, it's like, okay, this is like, a whole tune-up setup. And so that way they can get all of this for one fee. That way, they might not need all of it. You can always break it down individually too. But I think some people don't charge for grommet repair. And that takes a lot of extra time when you're stringing a racket. Balancing, sometimes, people throw that in, but really if you, have the equipment, and many times those balancing equipment cost an extra $500,000 for that equipment, right? So you want to make sure that, you let people know that you have that available, and also that you know how to use it, and that you're an expert, and that just kind of, I think, brings you to a higher level of providing that kind of a service. And I think that is a big benefit, and it could set you apart from your competition.
Yeah, I agree. I cut out for a minute. I don't know if there was any technical issues on your end, but my screen went blank for a minute. So.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It might have been on your end.
Okay.
All right, so the next thing, offering stringing subscription plans. So developing a monthly or seasonal subscription service, offering regular stringing at discounted prices, and there might be some benefits in it encourages repeat business and provides a steady income stream. So maybe it's a way for you to, like, if you have 20 people on this program, it's kind of creates a regular monthly revenue for you that you can count on to offset some other expenses. But again, when you do this, you have to really figure out how it's going to work for you profit-wise, because you could end up getting yourself into a situation where you're offering too much free stuff, or people are taking advantage of it, or so forth. But I know this has worked for individuals. I've tried it in different settings as well. I'm not sure, Brad, do you have any experience on this?
Not a lot, but I think it is worth talking about, and I think it is worth even myself considering. I have a couple clients who are not. I have several clients who are not racket string breakers, and so they might say, "Hey, in 6 months, can you reach out to me and remind me it's time to string my racket?" So what you might do is, once you develop a database of clients, go through the ones that don't break them that often. Maybe they break them every 2, 3, 4, 5 months. But maybe they're really into their tennis, and you can talk to them about the importance of a fresh string job, and how strings lose their tension quickly, and how it might benefit them to just, hey, get your racket strung once a month. I'll put you on a package program, and maybe you give them a $5 discount. So instead of them paying $20 every 4 months, now they're paying $15 every single month. You're making more money. They're happier. So that is something worth looking into, because I do think there is a benefit to having fresh string jobs, a freshly strung racket for sure. They go dead and they lose tension. I mean, the minute I take a racket off the machine, well, by the next morning it'll lose 3 or 4 pounds just sitting there overnight.
Yeah, and that brings me to a point here with the seasonal subscription. You have seasonal tennis players, especially if you live in an area that has pretty specific seasons where you're not going to be playing tennis. And so when a tennis season maybe approaches, you might have a seasonal subscription service or a seasonal racket tune-up for players, so that way they can get their gear tuned up for the season that they're about, because they play maybe regularly during the season that they can. And so maybe in the spring, you're tuning up their racket, restringing it, putting, some new grip, balancing it, getting it ready, or a couple brackets or whatever. So you could kind of maybe create some kind of a seasonal subscription to kind of get them thinking about stringing.
Great idea. Yep.
All right. And the next thing, stringing workshops and classes. So, if you have a shop and you have a lot of players you found that, are just talking to you all the time about stringing and stuff, you can offer like a workshop, like having in one evening, have some snacks and, have just the time to hang out and talk, a lot of new, I've done that before. And you can even offer classes, how to, keep your, for other stringers that maybe aren't as good as you. Now, again, you have to kind of think about that. Do you want to, in this industry, we all want to help each other, and we want to build up the industry. We want to build up stringers. So we do want to help, others, and if you think about it from that perspective versus, oh man, they're going to take my business if I show them how to do this, I wouldn't think about it like that. I would just think about it, we want to kind of all help each other and increase the whole market of stringing. And so this can, of course, establish you more as an authority in the stringing community, and maybe you could get some additional revenue by offering classes on how to string, or how to get equipment and maybe, so you can get extra revenue.
Or offer classes to potential clients. Strings are one of the most, least understood parts of the game, so you can educate a ton of people about the importance of a good string. They'll spend all this time demoing rackets and don't put any thought into, the actual part of the racket that touches the ball. And
Yep.
that's kind of our job as a stringer. Hey, this is going to make it feel more like this. This is going to help you with this. This is going to be better for your arm. This is going to last longer. This is going to, so there's so much you can do. And then they'll be excited about trying new strings,
Yeah, and you can have like a giveaway, maybe you've got some sets that some extra sets, or
Yep.
you can reach out to some manufacturers, tell them what you're doing. You can even bring them in. Like if you get enough people coming out, they might even give you send you some free stuff to give away and stuff. So that way you can kind of keep building that up and stuff. Because it reminds me of the days when we used to have demo days back at like the clubs and stuff. Like depending on whether you were sponsored, your club was sponsored by Wilson or Prince or whatever, they'd, because I was a rep for a while for some companies too. So I would go out to some of these tennis clubs and bring all my stuff and all the rackets, and there'd be a demo day, right? And it would help, of course, the pro shop and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so that was, that's maybe something that you could look at and maybe try in your market. The next thing, demo racket program. So this is kind of, I guess, along that same line that I was just talking about, but, Racket, partner with racket brands to offer demo rackets that customers can test, including custom string setups. This could, of course, introduce players to new products and strings and lead to more sales. And of course, that's what, the top manufacturers, of course, they have extra money and they have extra support in that area. Now, if you're a home stringer, maybe this might not work quite as well as if you are a established retail shop that has connections and accounts specifically with the tennis companies, because then they're more willing to do this. But if you're going to be offering demos for people to try, the thing is, you do need to really have the right string in there, and it has to be at the right tension, because otherwise you're really not doing yourself a service. Because a lot of times when you go into a shop and you're like, yeah, I want to try that racket. Oh, here's a demo. The string's been in there for like 3 months and it's not even a string you play with, or it's not the right handle. So demo programs are kind of like, you either have to go all out or just don't even do it, I think.
Right. They give you a 16 gauge polyester that's, feels like a Kevlar, and it's like, what? Who's going to like?
Yep, exactly. So. All right, the next thing here is stringing for tournament services. Of course, that's what we talk about a lot. That's what we kind of, I think a lot of stringers kind of aspire to get to that level so that they can string at tournaments. And you got to remember, there are different levels of tournaments, right? You've got the top tier tournaments, which would be like the top 16 tournaments or about that, including Grand Slams, or then you have the lower tier tournaments and the smaller 32 draw tournaments, or
the USTA futures and challengers.
Yeah, futures, challengers, college. So there's lots of different tournaments and events, special events, in your neighborhood, some of the clubs having tournaments and so forth. So this kind of, raises your brand visibility and kind of creates partnerships with different local community, the whole tennis community. So kind of think in your community, depending on how far you're willing to travel. Some people are willing to travel an hour out. Some people are willing to travel 2 to 3 hours, depending on, what, where you're at. But, this could be a way for you to add some more revenue. All right, let's see what else we have here. Online consultation services. Okay, so providing virtual consultation to help customers select strings, tension, and other customizations. So this could be done maybe through your website. You might have a phone number. People can reach you directly if they have questions. You can reach a broader market. So if you're in a very small market and you want to, kind of spread out a little bit more or reach beyond your physical location, and you have a website and you have a lot of, SEO on there where it can be searched easily on Google and can be found on Google, find an expertise that you can help others with. Because I know around the COVID time, a lot of new online providers were offering racket stringing at a distance, right? Because when the shops were maybe closed, or just another way to reach customers, because a lot more people are looking on the internet and it's a lot easier to ship rackets back and forth, but there's an additional cost to that. So it might not work for everybody, but it is a way for you to reach a broader market. So
And
you
if,
might
yeah.
think about that.
And if you have a portable machine, you can reach some of those communities like Patrick's saying, 20, 30, 40 miles away, and set it up with the coaches of the, the high school teams or the college teams, and just say, hey, I'm going to come down on this Saturday. I'll be there for 8 hours. If you can, get some of your players, I'd be happy to, set up my machine, string 5, 6, 7 rackets. You charge a little bit more, maybe, just make it worth your while. But
yep, very good. Next, we could offer some more retail and maybe e-commerce. Like if you are mostly just stringing and you're not really selling strings or grips, accessories, you could possibly do that either with your existing clientele, or opening up a small pro shop, or just having an online shop. Especially if you can get strings at a discount, with a better buy-in than maybe some of your competitors. You can just offer to maybe be available to sell strings to others, and make a little margin on that. So that's just maybe another revenue stream there. I know that works for a lot of people. And Racket customizing services is another one, of course. We kind of talked a little bit about this earlier, but like adjusting, enhancing the grip size, even reducing it depending on what kind of racket it is, where you can use different pallets, balancing, matching rackets, just whatever personalized touches, offering. I know a lot of people for a while there were doing custom stenciling, you're making all these custom stencils, whether it's for your college or whether it's just something that you like an emoji or something. So you can do that, and people appreciate that. So that's another way, I think, to maybe offer some more services. So really kind of just summing it all up, I think if you kind of offer a mix of services, you could really add an additional few streams of income depending on where you're at. And, especially since if you've been wanting to scale your business and you haven't kind of maybe figured out a way to do that, look at these different things that we kind of talked about today and see if any of them might work for you, or just go with maybe one and go, okay, you know what, I'm going to try this one for some time and see if I can increase some revenue there. Yeah, so that's what we have today. Again, we have another few videos in this series, so I hope that was helpful and offered some ideas for you. So please like and subscribe, and make sure you sign up for our newsletter, because we put a lot of these kind of tips and some new ideas into that as well. And we will see you in the next video.